Hello everybody, this is Alyssa from Minkarts and Crafts, and today we are working on this origami bee that I started, at the beginning of the event, and I'm still working on it. I made more progress on it. I have the bee mostly done, and I have part of the flower done. This is the base of the flower. That's what I have done. So the bee is mostly done, minus his little stalks, because I didn't keep the scraps, which I needed for that, so I have to get some black paper, and I need to glue his googly eyes on. And I've got his little body done, and I've got the base of the flower done right there. So we're going to work on our origami flower, and we're going to talk a little bit about the, mostly I think we're going to set this off to the side so I can work on my origami, the Lantern Festival. So this is going to be for the Lunar New Year event. Oh yes, and I was working on the body or the stocky portion of the stand up stocky portion of the flower that kind of goes up like this. That's what I was working on, is this portion. Once I finally got the directions of like, oh, this is what I'm actually supposed to do, I was like, this makes so much more sense now. So we're going to try to multitask and talk and do and all of this and see how it goes. So let me see what I need to do, how many of these I need to do with my little bee, where the directions are. I have to see where I left off on directions. Come on. They need to load my directions, and then I can start working on this little thing. Why is it not loading? Load my PDF of directions. While it's deciding if it wants to load or not, I'm gonna go ahead and fold me some papers. But anyways, so the Lunar New Year is officially over. The Lunar New Year ended on February 12th was the end of the Lunar New Year. There's my directions. And then we rolled into, there's the bee, we finished the bee. I have to scroll down on all these directions. Bee is done. Yes, the directions are like super confusing. Let's see, how much was this that I did? How many steps? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then we'll have, let's see, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'll fold, so I need to fold 15 of these. So we're going to fold them all and let them sit, and then we will do our next one. So we'll do 15 folds. That's the easiest thing to do. So the Lantern Festival is the conclusion of the Lunar New Year of celebrations, and the Lantern Festival marks the first full moon of the Lunar New Year, and that was February 12th. So last week, Wednesday. I don't know about you guys, but we had some really crazy stuff at work on Wednesday. It was quite the lunar. You could basically you could tell that it was a new moon, or the full moon. You could basically tell that it was a full moon. But that was the 12th, February 12th, which was the when the Lunar or the Lantern Festival would start. This would be basically this festival, where the Lantern Festival is famous for sweet rice balls, which the shape symbolizes unity, family unity, and togetherness. And at this time, you'll also find that like cities will be illuminated with lantern displays, lively dragon dances, which is a great and joyful end to the New Year festivities, and ushers in hope for a prosperous year ahead, which is super cool. I'm really bummed that I did not get a chance to make it to a New Year, like any spring festival or lantern festival or anything this year. I was super bummed about that. I actually had a couple that I was going to try to go to, none here in Jacksonville, which was like a super big bummer, because we're a fairly large city, and I'm like, how do we not have any here in Jacksonville? That's like crazy. But there were some down in Orlando, which is like a 2.5, 3 hour drive away from me. So I was going to try to go down to Orlando, but like the one weekend that would have worked to go that actually had some festivals was this past weekend, which I was understandably like visiting my parents because it was my dad's birthday. So I did not go to the festivals or anything like that. So next year I will 100% be going to the festivals. So that's something that I will be doing. But this year is a little bit weird just because with all of like the hassle and the stress of like moving and like or working on the closing of the house and everything. It was just not on the cards to be able to go. So that's something that I will definitely be doing. What's really cool is that the Lunar New Year is celebrated in a lot of countries, not just in China. It's celebrated in many Asian countries, and that's why you hear me I try to make a point of referring to my event as the Lunar New Year DP Along, not like the Chinese New Year DP Along, because it's not just China that celebrates it. I would just call it and I can't, because there's so many people that, like so few people in our diamond painting community that do the events that would think about like the new year in Asian context. They would typically associate it with, oh, it's the new year, let's celebrate, like January 1st, New Year. That's what they would think of when somebody says New Year. Versus in a lot of Asian countries, when you talk about the New Year, everybody's thinking, like a lot of Asian countries, their automatic thing that they're thinking of is the Lunar New Year, not like January 1st New Year, because of how it falls. So it's not just China's thing, it's many Asian countries. So that's something that you'll see. So it's celebrated in a lot of countries. So that's why I refer to it as my event as the Lunar New Year Festival, because I wanted to respect the fact that there's more than just China that celebrates. So you'll see it in, sorry, I have these ads that keep popping up and blocking. Oh, come on. Seriously? Blocking my view of this. Seriously? I hate ad pop-ups. They're so annoying. And they totally block my view of what I'm trying to read on this website. I need like a pop-up blocker. So Korea has a Solal, Vietnam has the Tet Festival, and all of those have their own, like, will have very specific aspects that are going to be slightly different for each of those countries compared to what you'll have in China. So like in Korea, they'll have it involves like rice cake soup. It's a lot of honoring of ancestors. Vietnam with the Tet Festival, or Tet in general, which part of it you'll have Tet festivals, but in Tet, you'll decorate your home with peach blossoms, and lucky money will be given to the children. So a lot of similarities to what you'll see in China, but there are some differences from the different countries. New York, San Francisco, and London have some huge parades and dragon dances, fireworks, lantern festivals, which is pretty cool. Big thing that kind of surrounds all of them is the family food and hopes for a prosperous year ahead, which is the big underlying premises for it. I know you'll also see like Thailand also celebrates as well. You'll see a lot of different countries that do celebrate the Lunar New Year. What's really cool is the Lantern Festival, and if you've ever had an opportunity to visit a Lantern Festival, it is super awesome. I've gotten the opportunity to do a number of different lantern festivals, and it's usually celebrated in February is when the Lantern Festival typically falls into February. It just depends on the year. But the Spring Festival is for families with where you're visiting and spending a lot of time with families. And after the 5th day of the Spring Festival, and the 5th day of the New Year, that's when everything kind of goes back to normal. But on the 15th of the New Year, that's when everyone kind of goes out onto the streets to celebrate in public. And that's when you'll see a lot of stuff going on. And just from my experience, I'll go back to reading my stuff once I kind of put together a few of these things. But this is the putting it together piece of everything. But yeah, like going, and if you've ever had the opportunity, or if you ever get the chance to do so, seeing an actual festival in person, like a lantern festival, is such an awesome opportunity. I think it's something that everybody should take that opportunity. If you have one within driving distance of you, take full advantage and go to a festival. It's so incredible to do it. And it's like the things that you get to see and the fun that you get to have when you're there. Oh my goodness, it's so fun. I have so much fun when I go to the festivals like that. And I was super bummed that I did not get the opportunity to go this year. But that's something that I will most definitely be going at next year. So now I'm just putting these together and following the instructions for how to put my little stocky stock together. That's the row number 6. Now I'm going to be on to row number 7. So this is kind of cool. So what was cool with this little origami bee thing is that the paper is already essentially cut out and has the crimps, so you just have to actually fold it along its little lines. But it's essentially, you're not having to do a ton of it's just folding along the dotted line. You don't have to do a ton of like unnecessary work or anything like that. You don't have to cut anything out. You just had to pop them out, and then you just do the foldy folds. You coming in, Momos? Hi, baby. She's like, it's a box, Mom. But maybe I want the box, but maybe not. And you just fold them all and put them together and go from there. See, look at that. And there is one little stalky. So now I've got 2 little stalks, a short one and a long one. Or 2, not little stalks, but they're just like little leaf branches. Now let's see, how many do I need for this one? 34. I'm going to do 34 folds. So now I'm going to go back over and read, because there's going to be a lot of reading while I do this. Hey, I need a tissue. All right. So basically the 15th day of the Lunar New Year, or of the new year, basically, is when everybody, regardless of age, kind of goes out and about and to celebrate. I think I was folding some of those the wrong. Yeah, there we go. So they all go out to celebrate on that 15th day of the new year. You'll have all the partying, all the interacting with people. It's like prior to that, you're kind of hanging out at home, chilling with family, all of that. But then now this is socializing and freedom. So in ancient China, the women usually were not allowed outside of the home unless it was in this particular night. So on basically the Lantern Festival, this is when they could stroll freely, light lanterns, play games, interact with men. So you'll see a lot of so a lot of times they'll refer to this as the true Chinese Valentine's Day, not actual Valentine's Day. Also has religious significance. It's an important festival in ancient Chinese paganism and still in modern day Buddhism and in a lot of ethnic minority cultures. So general consensus is that this particular festival began over 2,000 years ago during the Western Han Dynasty. And basically Emperor Wu designated this day for worship rituals for Tai, one of the universe's sovereigns. So there was intense power play and unrest came after his reign. And the new emperor was Emperor Wen. To celebrate the return of peace, he made the lunar January 15th, which is the 15th day of the new year, a national holiday, and every household would light candles and lanterns. And it became known as Now Yuan Zhao. So now can be interpreted as having fun or going wild with excitement. And that's what people do during this particular time. Emperor Ming of the later Eastern Han was a devout Buddhist, and he heard that on the 15th day, monks would light candles for Buddha. He ordered the palace and temples to light candles and the citizens to hang lanterns. And both events combined and eventually turned into the Lantern Festival as we know it now, which is a pretty spectacular festival if you've ever been to one. One of my life goals is to actually attend a Lantern Festival in Asia. Doesn't matter which country. It could be like going to a Lantern Festival in Thailand, going to a Lantern Festival in China, going to a Lantern Festival in Japan, South Korea. I just want to go to an actual Lantern Festival. I've gone to Lantern festivals basically in Hawaii, which, oh my goodness, the different events that we have in types of festivals that we have in Hawaii. There's some really cool ones, because there's such a strong Asian presence in Hawaii because of its location, being so close right there in the Pacific Ocean like that. We have a lot of Asian cultures that have made Hawaii home. And also a lot of Asian tourists too, from a lot of different countries that come in. So that's always really cool. So during the celebrations, the duration of the celebrations actually varied throughout history. So now the festival isn't an actual national holiday like the Spring Festival is. So like Spring Festival, that's actually like those 5 days in particular are more of like a national holiday, and that's why you'll see like with diamond painting stuff, you'll see everything shut down for people to go on holiday. So people will be gone because they're, you know, going back home to visit family during the holiday. But that's not so for the Lantern Festival. That's not quite the same. A lot of businesses, if they could potentially shut down, but it's not a national holiday. It's kind of like a case for case. So you wouldn't technically have days off unless like the guaranteed days off. The best period for Lantern Festival would be for like the Lantern Festival lovers would have been during the Ming Dynasty, when the festival actually lasted around a month, which is pretty cool. There are some holidays that coincide with Lantern Festival, and they're actually celebrated together. So the Torch Festival began in ancient times and to chase away insects and pests and pray for a good harvest. So children would gather firewood and tree branches. Adults would then light them. And holding these torches, entire communities dance in fields from dusk to dawn. This festival is actually still celebrated in some parts of southwest China. So it's a more rural thing. If you think about it, I mean, you're praying for a good harvest. So it's going to be something in your more rural, pastoral area where people are focusing on growing harvesting goods. And then you have your vegetable stealing festival. This is celebrated by the Miao ethnicity in China. On this particular day, groups of girls steal Chinese cabbage from someone's fields. And being caught is totally fine, but it's forbidden to steal from relatives or friends. You have to find like your enemy or somebody you don't like or somebody you don't know. That's me making up that last part. Later, everyone puts the stolen Chinese cabbage together to make a feast. The one who eats the most will be the one to marry first. Kind of an interesting festival. And then you have lighting the lanterns. Lanterns are the most notable part of your festival. Obviously, from the name, I mean, it is the Lantern Festival. In the early days, the Lantern Festival was also called Xingyuan. It was dedicated to the Heavenly Palace, and people would gather in their yards and give offerings to the gods. The lit lantern near the setup represented a god's seat, and throughout history, you'll have countless variations of lanterns have been created. They can be small globes that fit in your palm, or they can be super large, elaborate lanterns like the size of a parade float. And people will make symbolic lanterns, like symbolic designs as well. So you can have some simple ones that are just literally, basically an oval that super basic, looks like just a little sheet of material of paper. Or you can have these super elaborate ones, and the image that you see here, there's like giant fish, lotuses, dragons, these super elaborate lanterns, and they look so cool. Or, just the simple one. A famous variation you've got is the Kongmin lantern. These lanterns represent hope, success, and happiness. In the past, people used these lanterns to signify they were safe after an attack. Now they are used for wishes. Also known as the sky lantern, Tiandang sounds similar, which means adding to another Tian, which is another one that I don't get the umlauts and everything else on, or not the umlauts, but the little the pronunciation. I'm not trained on how to pronounce Chinese. My Mandarin is not there. But basically, lanterns would be gifted to these ones. It's like a play on words for sky lantern, which is very similar to adding children. So lanterns would be gifted to newlyweds or couples without children to pass on blessings. So pregnant women would receive a pair of small lanterns to wish health and safety on both mother and child. Some regions also burn lanterns to determine the gender of their future child from the shape of the ashes. So a lot of like superstition in that. So every holiday has its own set of activities. There's a lot more to the festival than just straight lanterns, even though the lanterns are the pretty cool part. In the city of Fingyang, swings play a major role in the celebrations. So a popular saying is, swing on the lantern festival, no aches or pains the entire year. So, you know, you gotta be a child at heart, play on the swings. One of the festival sites in Hebei are the Jingjing Lahua performances. So holding fans and parasol-like props, folks dance to the beat of drums. That's pretty cool. And then you have lantern riddles. The ancient Chinese would often get together with friends and drink wine and write poetry together. So play on words and riddles were a favorite pastime, which is pretty cool. During this festival, people would write riddles on the lanterns, and these small games are popular with everyone. They require you to be clever and think outside the box. According to many love stories, you can catch the attention of your crush through this game. I feel like that's a little much thinking necessary to do that. There's also the dragon dance. This is, the dragon dance has a history almost as long as Chinese culture itself. Performers will create impressive formations to the beat of Chinese drums and cymbals. And it is very cool watching a dragon dance. Very, very cool. And the training that they go through to do a dragon dance performance is super, super amazing. It's awesome. You'll see that lion dances, like a dragon dance is pretty cool. The dragon is a little bit different than the lion. The dragon is going to be chasing the pearl. So you'll see that one, but then you'll also see the lion dance, which is also extremely awesome. The dragon dance is, you'll see many people you'll see the different length of the dragon will vary, and the number of people doing the dragon varies, but it's like when you have that many people working together, it's a lot more it's challenging to have that many people coordinated together. And then you have the lion dance, and the lion dance, let me go to is one where you'll have at multiple events. So I'm gonna do these 5, and then I'm going to I'll go back to reading because I need to make some progress on this, and then I'll read some more. So because the first 5 and then the things change on my little stalky stalk. I think I do outside, yes, inside, 7 is middle. But yeah, if you've never watched any of those, I encourage you to Google or like YouTube any of those, like a dragon dance and a lion dance, and watch them. I know I recorded like pieces of them, and I think I put up little clips of them last year from when I watched it. I've seen many. I've only seen the dragon dance once for a technical dragon dance. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this will be 9. And then we have the next 21. All right, and now we will finish out the rest of these. So let me go back over to my reading. So the lion dance, you'll see it pretty much at any festival. You can watch the lion dance. You'll see it from weddings, holidays, store openings, pretty much any significant event. You can see the lion dance being done. And it's really cool. You'll see it at like really formal or like really big, elaborate like birthdays. You'll see it at like 50th anniversaries, pretty much those big events like that. You'll see the lion dance being held, and it's pretty cool to watch it like that. Boom. Mochi, you're silly. She's trying to crawl inside my Udi because she's cold. If you hear noise in the background, it's because it's cold enough that I have the space heater on, so you'll hear the blowing of the space heater, but I'm not turning it off to film the video because then if I turn the space heater off, my heat pump will turn on, and that thing is obnoxiously loud. So we are going to suffer with the noise of the space heater because I do not want to turn on the heat pump. I do not want the heat pump to turn on because that is very loud. So with the lion dance, the lion is very elaborate. It's intricately designed, has movable eyes and mouths, and sometimes the lion will open its mouth and demand food or red packets. Other times the lion will roll around and play like an oversized kitten, and the people that are inside the lion are very well trained. Sushi, do not pass to Mochi. She just laid down. And when you're watching it, you have two people. The first person is the front end of the lion, and they get to stand up. But they're the ones that are controlling the head, the eyes, the front leg, and their legs are the front legs. But they're the head and the eyes and the mouth of the lion. And they have to do a lot of jumping, and they're basically have to be very expressive. But you can't neglect that the back end of the lion, which is that person, their hands are pretty much constantly on the waist of the front person, and they are controlling the back end. So they're in like a forward bent position. So their legs, their hands, their waist, they're in that constant bent forward position throughout the entirety of it, and because they're the body of the lion. But the lion sometimes will be standing on two legs, so the back, the performer for the back half of the lion has to then pick up the performer of the front half of the lion, which is impressive. Like the way that they do everything, it's like, oh my goodness, they do so much work. And it's not like the performance is only like a 10-minute performance. It's a pretty impressively long performance how they do it. It's impressive. All right, so we just finished that one. Oh, we get to stack our little stocky stocks. All right, we're going to put this one here and this one here. Ooh, I like it. So now we have some little, doop, look at that. And now this one here and this one here. Boop, look at that. See, we have a little stock going on. And now, see, I need to put this, has to fit inside there, which is going to be the tricky part because it does not want to fit inside there because of how tight this is. Because these are like all flat instead of rounded. But to see if I can kind of fit this sucker inside this sucker. That's my next task. Fit this inside there and I'll have a stand. Would you stop yelling at each other? All right, let's see if we can figure out how to get this to fit. Hi, Susu. There. There we go. We made it fit. Well, it depends on how many I want it to overlap. Okay, I guess I should probably bring it down a little bit further so it overlaps a little bit more. What are you doing, baby cat? Hi, Susu. Susu's helping me. All right, we have a standing little branchy stalk. And we have a bee. Now, what's next on our agenda? Oh, we get to make the flower. Let's go ahead and flip back over while I'm folding these. All right, and then you have your stilts. So Chinese stilt performers the stilt performances are an ancient art, and they stem from Chinese opera, and the performers sing and dance while on stilts, which is kind of impressive if you ask me, because I'm not that coordinated at all. And depending on their character, they have different costumes and heights that they will be on when we're talking about our stilt performers. Trademark food of the Lantern Festival itself is yuan xiao, just like the festival itself. It's also known as Tang Yuan in the South. It's one of the many tasty Chinese New Year desserts. So glutinous rice dumplings, that's what it is. Basically, your glutinous rice dumplings will have sweet fillings made of syrup, red bean paste, black sesame paste, and more. And if you've never had one, they are super, super delicious. You can be steamed or fried, but they're usually boiled and served in hot water. So they represent family reunions because Tang Yuan sounds similar to reunion. So again, those play on words. Some businessmen also call these balls yuanbao, meaning gold or silver ingots. And despite also being a night of revelry, the Lantern Festival is also a night for families. So before Chinese New Year officially and finally ends, the family should reunite again. So take a break from the celebrations and relax with the family and reconnect under the moon. Enjoy that time together. Enjoy the fireworks show and performances, and eat a bowl of yuan shao. So that is basically Lantern Festival. And of course, you launch your lantern, light it off, sending out your your wishes for the new year. It's a time to kind of like, you know, just basically start fresh again for the new year. That's part of what the Lantern Festival is all about. And that was basically that was something that a lot of places here, a lot of places did their Lantern Festival here in the States did their Lantern Festival this weekend, because, you know, we're in the States, so we like to do things on the weekends. Whereas you go to a lot of, like, to be more authentic, you would have done the Lantern Festival on the actual 12th. So during the week on the actual 15th day of the Lunar New Year, as opposed to doing it on, you know, the weekend, which would have been after the actual event. But I highly encourage you to take advantage of it. And if you did not participate this year, or you couldn't find something in your area this year, well, you've got a year until the next Lunar New Year. So start planning now and say, okay, hey, I want to go take a trip somewhere. Plan a trip. It can be to, like, your next big city that is going to have one. And you start saying, okay, I'm going to look into doing a Lunar New Year festival for next year. And you start that process and start figuring it out for the next year. That way you can enjoy the new festival and go from there. So that's kind of my thoughts on the festival. So yes, that's where we're at for that. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to do a little bit of this orange stuff, and just because I already have them folded, and I want to use the ones that I've folded right here for you guys, and then we will be done for today's video. Woohoo! All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3. These ones are the ones that are all struggling. 4. So I need 8 of these. I need 4 up, 4 down. 3, 4. Oh, 3, 3. 4 down. And now I need to go like this, because that 4th one is going to go right here. And I'm going to use this one that wants to roll around. So that way it's covered. There we go. Boom, there's the first row. Look at that. So this is going to be very similar to what that one looked like as far as starting this sucker out. So this is kind of essentially a smaller version of what the green thing looked like. And then we're going to do another one of these spikes. We're going to put them like this. Another one of these spikes in each one of these. 2, 3, 4. And then we have 2 here. So we're going to go with, you know, this right here. So we're going to pick this up because it's too much of a hassle to do it like that. That's way too much of a hassle. So we're going to pick that up, and we're going to go with this. So we do that right there. And then we have this right here. So we're expanding our circle of petals. And then we're going to do this one to this one. Look at that. making our petals larger. So much fun. And then I'll show you guys the progress that we made today, which is pretty good progress. Definitely much better progress than what I made that first time that I did this, where I basically made a little stack of orange things. That was actually, I don't even think how I was supposed to do it. Yeah, I had no clue what I was doing, and the directions that I was following were not like the actual directions, because this was not very clear on what I was supposed to do. So now we're actually doing it the right way. And now we're at the fourth one. So we're gonna do our little stalky stalk. Boop. And then put this one right here. Doop. And then the last one is to connect those two little stalks. So there is a step number 3. Oh, actually, I need to, before I can add any more, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. How many of those do I need to use? Oh, yep, I'll do all 8 of those. That goes in each of these areas. I have to fold some green. So I guess that makes it a perfect stopping point, because I have not folded any green. So we made the start of our flower. We started our flower, made some progress on that, which is looking great. As you can see, our flower looks good. So we started that. We also have like a base to our stalk, so that's progress there. It's like enough progress that I now have to leave this out on my desk, and I can't just let it sit inside its little box. But that's also an incentive to actually work on it. I haven't decided if I'm going to just let it sit and work on it next week for you guys, or if I'm just going to actually do stuff. And then we have our little bumblebee. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So progress. We made progress on it. These are what I thought were the directions, but it was actually just the joints. So it was not actually helpful. It was just how to do stuff. But this shows us a little of what they have. The bee is what we're making here, and that's supposed to be an easy one. But there's a lot of different options in here. I have a few of them. I thought the bee would be an easy but fun one to do. I want the unicorn. But these are very time consuming. But, you know, nice that they aren't something that you're going to finish in like, 3 minutes. It's something that's going to take a little bit of time. But anyways, that is what I have for you guys for today. I hope you guys enjoyed working with me on this and learning a little bit more about the Lantern Festival. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.